Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of the Quran Lessons for the Infidel. We are continuing where we were a couple of weeks ago. We've started into Islam's rules for women, which we knew at the onset was going to be a fun ride. And last week, of course, we found out that you can beat your wives, especially if they feel like they should be equal. That would be like that's a valid reason to beat your wives, but you're only allowed to beat them gently, apparently. And we're going to continue that. We're about halfway through it. And Bogey, where are we now? What verse are we starting from?
We will be starting from verse 72 onward.
72. Scrolling through that page in our hymnal.
It's a long scroll. Meanwhile, on a side note, not even Allah revealed the Quran in one go, but rather took 23 years to do so. So us doing a surah in two parts, yeah, we're doing fine.
Okay. It's funny that it only took him 6 days to create the entire universe. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
what's even funnier than that is that it took him several days just to work on this one rock. It seems like
Yes.
every other planet, every other galaxy full of planets and stars and such, all got sneezed out in the same breath.
Yeah, and they could have used some of his attention too. Just think about it.
Yeah, but 4 days just to shape this one. That's weird.
Yeah. And then he spent 23 years talking to this one guy and telling him how things are.
in a cave alone.
In a well, at least partly in a cave, because it's only attributed the cave as a place is only attributed to one surah as far as I know. But there might be a couple that happened there, but mostly it happened at his home, with Khadija watching him being weird and stuff. I mean, I do have sympathies to the lady here. Like she married the young man and he was like taking care of business, and suddenly one day he comes home and he's got all these words in his head, and she takes him to work up in Naufal, who is a distant relative of hers, who happens to be a Bible scholar, and workers go, oh yeah, we know that kind of thing. Just bring him over. We'll talk it over a beer. Because it wasn't haram at that point. It's still not is, by the way. So from 472 to 479 is my first note. And the Quran here goes on a long rant about fighting, killing, and getting killed in the name of Allah. And states
that's necessary.
That's absolutely important part of it, right? Without that, it would be
if you've created levity-jillion galaxies, and so of course you want people on this one teeny little circle on this one teeny little rock to kill each other, over whether they believe in you.
Yeah, it's worse than the Dune.
Can we mention that there are verses just shoved in the woman in this woman ayah? They should be in the previous previous ayah, and so the previous ayah, the verses about women and marriage about women, so they should be put here. So I think people who put the Quran together just switch them, because it doesn't make sense.
It is not clear to me as to how these surahs are grouped out as surahs. I'm assuming somebody said, okay, this is going to be a chapter and this is going to be a chapter. And I agree with you. There are women-related verses elsewhere, like in Al-Talaq, for example, which is coming up. And there are other verses regarding women and women's status and completely unrelated in Baqarah, right?
And these verses should be in Badr, the fight, Marital, Badr, and Uhud.
Right. You should have named it that way, because this is, well, I'm not going to say mostly, because mostly it's just yammering here. This is a long rant about, and states that it is far more rewarding to fight, kill, and die in the name of Allah, than going all to the other prescribed deeds in Islam put together. And of course, 479, the victim blaming verse, again in it, in its full glory. Well, you can look it up if you want. I put this in a block. Your translation and understanding is perfectly okay. I merely wanted to elevate 479 for all the good things came from Allah, and you, the person, for all good things come from Allah, and you, the person, are responsible for the bad things. Right?
Yeah, I've heard a few Muslims say that anything I get right is credit to God. Anything I get wrong is my own mistake.
Yeah. So
I've heard people say that.
You can send all your speeding tickets to Allah on heavenstreet.com or whatever. All right, so that's that. And anybody else has anything before 480?
Evidently not.
Okay, no. So 480 and 481 are abrogated by 9.5. So all that beating around in the bushes, it's abrogated by 9.5. You don't just
once again, just for people who don't have the clarity, just like whoever obeys the messenger of God, if some pay no heed, we have sent you to the keeper. They say, we obey you, but as soon as they leave your presence, some of them scheme by night to do other than what you said. God records what they scheme. So leave them alone. That's the part that's abrogated. So leave them alone and put your trust in God. He is the sufficient protector. And of course, 9.5 tells you, don't leave them alone. Go kill them.
It's a 9.5, yes. Now, yes, and you guessed it right. You're getting the gist of this. It's going to be abrogated.
I think Aaron is becoming a scholar on 9.5.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be able to make fatwas.
Yeah, and yet we haven't even started on Surah 5 yet. So
I'm sorry, guys. I was muted. I had something to say.
Yes, go ahead.
There's one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I was told that the Muslims were not allowed to fight despite being bullied until an Islamic state was consolidated. But this is when you were reading verse 72 through 77. Is this correct, or is this some form of embellishment?
I think
may
it's
or may not.
embellishment. I feel this is an embellishment. The notion of Islamic Ummah does not require a state, like in today's known what a state is. It does not require that.
Right? Yeah,
I see.
And we see, that's the thing. You're trying to take a text from the 7th, 6th century and trying to implement it in modern time. You kind of have to squeeze it, or you have to stretch it. So it's either you say that all the Muslims everywhere are technically in the Muslim Ummah, and whenever one of them is in need, everyone needs to help, no matter what. Or you have to limit it down to the nation state that we live in now. So whenever a nation state calls their Muslim, like a Muslim nation calls its citizen, the Muslim citizens, to fight, they have to fight. And they could stretch it or squeeze it as much as they want. Like the Ottomans during World War I, they declared the jihad against the European, even though they were fighting. Their allies were the German and Austrian. But at the same time, we see the modern concept of that word, the jihad, is a little bit stretched too. So,
right, but declare the jihad, like that was a bona fide nation. If you look at Ottomans, right?
Yeah.
But here is Osama bin Laden declaring jihad.
Yeah, and
to the same effect, it made no difference in understanding, and it made no difference in execution either.
Yeah, it's exactly how you want to interpret it, because the fact of the matter is the text that you are basing your your rules on, it's an old text that is not built for this life or this time with our understanding of life right now.
Yes, every time you see a descriptive text or a prescriptive text that applies to more than one individual and his wife and their slaves, it's about the group, and that group can be the whole nation. It's not, there is no specific restriction. Whenever it says qawm, whenever it says ummah, whenever it says, it's everybody. Right?
But we also have like in Christianity, if the ruler of a Muslim country have the last word, his words, you should follow him. We have this in some verses that the ruler is like he's your ruler, so whatever he says, it will happen, should happen,
Yeah,
even if
as
it's
long
against.
as
Yeah.
long as that ruler is ruling according to the edicts and prescriptions of the Quran. If he diverts from that, then it's upon the people to remove him from power. And this is what got the initial problems between the Khawarij and the others, because they did not
Us.
agree on this. But yeah,
Yeah.
right. So it
82?
the notion of there are individual rules for individuals to follow individually, but then the moment it is like when you looked at the place where it legislates what to do if you killed somebody by mistake, right? It immediately goes into, okay, no, if you have a treaty with that group of people, and that group of people can be a tribe, it can be just a family, it can be a whole nation, right? So it's not limited to whom you're going to have a treaty with. If you have a treaty, then you release the slave that you own and don't pay them money or whatever it is. We'll get to it. We will get to it in detail. So these rulings and these restrictions and obligations do apply to the individual individually, and a lot of them, in fact, most of them will apply to the whole group. And when it does, then the group gets to execute it, right? So
Right.
when it edicts that when two men commit the ultimate deed, then hurt them. Well, who's going to hurt them? They're not going to do it themselves, right? That's, well, they might, right? But the point is, the point is, then the group gets on it, and then they hurt them, right? And that doesn't end up well for these guys.
There's a question in the chat and the super sticker.
I didn't see that. Let me see.
A super sticker.
Yep.
How do you remove that?
I do not see that question. So
The question are abrogations in the Quran, Allah correcting for his misspeaking or changing his mind? Both.
Yes.
But the apologists would say that it's like ripping a bandage. So when he said don't drink, he started like drink slowly, don't drink when you're praying, then no drinking whatsoever, like lifting the bandage slowly.
Yeah,
Right. Some of them are contradictory, however.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
That's apologists.
yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And 82, the ayah 82, the next
Yes, I'm waiting
verse.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big
82.
old chuckle with that one.
Yes,
Okay.
it is
Please,
dealing with contradiction in the Quran.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Aaron, please read your notes on 82.
82. All right, just a second. Will they not think about this Quran? If it had been from anyone other than God, they would have found much inconsistency in it. Yeah. I think I'm finding much inconsistency anyway.
Yeah.
yeah.
Funny, huh?
Yeah.
So according to the Quran is not from God.
That
Well,
does seem to be the
this verse basically unravels it, doesn't it? I mean, this is a challenge Allah should not have undertaken.
What episode are we in?
what
Quran
episode?
lessons. Yeah, Quran lessons for the infidel.
Oh,
I have
because we
no-
were doing this in order of revelation. I think we're about 2/3 through.
50 something
No,
maybe, or 60.
50 something. So the 50 something episodes saying each time we have a contradiction. Each time.
Do we have one? Do we
No,
see a contradiction?
just the whole Quran.
No, we just cover them and call them abrogations.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But by the way, Aaron, your playlist is a little messy.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there's a playlist on your channel for these chapters, but there's some of them are repeated, and then there's holes.
Are there? Okay.
I'll email you corrected playlist later.
If you would, please, that would be helpful, because I realized there's a lot of these that I didn't put, that I just, I move on to something else, I forget to do it. So.
Okay, 84 is my next note.
To answer your question, Surah number 4 in the order of revelations is Surah 92.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a little stuff
We
covered.
don't have that much to go then.
Right, out of 144. I mean 145, excuse me.
114.
115, you're right. We have 115 surahs.
114.
115.
I got 114.
Yes, your list is short by one because there has been a new surah added to the Quran. It's a Surah Corona.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Just last year.
Foggy. I was literally searching, guys. What?
What happened?
So JFK and JFK Jr. didn't show up, but Muhammad did. It's a sorry.
Muhammad did. There's a new surah in the Quran. It's 115, and it's Surah Corona, and we will read it at the end.
I thought you were referring to the one the goat ate.
Yes. Well, this is not eaten by the goat. This is.
Fortunately.
Yes. So we are on
82?
84. 84.
What about 83? That when people,
non-believers,
Muhammad, if a non-believer don't believe, Muhammad will be hurt.
Yeah, when I asked about this some time ago, I was told that, and this is not in the Quran, this a Muslim told me, it was Satan whispering. And they also call the other gods Satan.
No, Muhammad is in 1383.
Say you worship Vishnu, well, that's Satan for them.
Right. If you don't worship according to Muhammad's instructions, then it's the devil.
But all of them are the devil.
It's interesting because it says, if it were not for God's bounty and mercy towards you, you would almost all have followed Satan. Well, the almost throws me off.
Yep.
So this is referring to Uhud, one of the second battle Muhammad fought in it, and there was he got injured badly in it, and there was rumors that he was killed. So if you look at the beginning of that verse, it talks about when some people got some news, good or bad, they just start telling people about it. So in the beginning of the battle, there was some loot and bounty that people left on the ground, and people started hurrying and grabbing whatever they wanted. And then when Muhammad was supposedly rumored to be killed, people were saying, well, the prophet had died, and basically their whole idea just collapsed there, and a lot of people just fled the battle. So he's kind of in this verse telling them, you better not just start just telling people rumors. You should go and be very certain with it, return it to the prophet. And if you don't listen, if you don't return it, if it's not for Allah, and a lot of people will have gone, and just the whole city would have been looted at that time, and they lost it totally, rather than what happened historically, that they actually kind of had a makeshift defense line at the end of the battle, kind of just holding them back from the town.
Yeah.
Yep. So 84 it is. as bad as it is, it's still abrogated by 9.5, which strongly indicates that their worldly punishment is due before the afterworldly punishment. And 484 and the fact that it is abrogated by 9.5 should be an eye-opener here.
So when it's in what you're talking about is where it says, God may well curb the power of the disbelievers, for he is stronger in might and more terrible in punishment.
Yes.
Where of course 9.5 says, no, don't wait on God, go kill them yourself.
Exactly. Get the job done before God. Right.
Another thing to take note here is that he says Muhammad is only in charge of himself, and the believers are not obligated to go to war. And that was the case during this time. There were no obligation for people to join the battles, but that came later on in a different surah. So Muhammad is trying to encourage people to join the war effort.
I want to ask about this thing about the rumor that Muhammad died in this battle. Am I confusing Muhammad with somebody else here? There was another part of the Quran where it was talking about a corpse being propped up on a stick, so that it would make people convinced that this guy's still alive, because they've got him standing with a walking stick, and it's just really that he's, I don't know, he's erected.
Solomon? Wasn't that Solomon?
I thought it was Solomon. I thought it might be Solomon.
And that's another.
Yeah. It's supposedly in that story that when Solomon died, because as you know, God gave him the power to control jinns and rule over jinns and animals and all kind of things.
And nature.
And yes, the myth of the flying carpet comes from Solomon. He controlled the wind, that he was able to ride the wind. He will sit on a carpet and tell it to fly. So the flying carpet comes from Solomon. But that's beside the point. That he stood there in front of the jinns building this big magnificent building or temple for him, and he died standing, leaning on his stick. Supposedly, old age, he needed a walking stick. So they didn't know. They were so afraid to touch him or come by him that they didn't know until he collapsed when, like, I don't know, some bugs ate when his stick rotted. But yeah, Muhammad got injured. That was Solomon, and Muhammad got injured in a different battle, but he wasn't propped up by a stick. Although
so somebody did die, but it was a lookalike.
Well, his
I'm confused at this. How does somebody get rumored to have died in a battle? I mean,
his
uncle since then, right?
It's an old battle trick in the olden times where two groups would have a battle, and then they would say the rumor that the other group's leader has died, and then the other group stops fighting, and then they win, right? So
what happened in that battle? If you look at it, how it happened, that there was an ambush technique. One of the guys actually took kind of a cavalry charge behind the line of Muhammad and charged from the back, broke the lines, and as we know at that time, they didn't have modes of communication that very, very well. They only had the banners. So
like shouting.
Yeah. So the guy by the banner, the one who's holding the flag, was killed, and Muhammad's uncle was killed in that battle. And Muhammad's uncle was very close to him, very similar in look, measures. So when they saw the Muhammad's uncle getting killed, a lot of people thought he was killed. Well, there was a lot of fucking cavalry just like charging and trampling people. So a lot of things started messing up, and they couldn't stand, and no one stood with him because everyone was just basically fleeing for himself.
Yeah, the way I understand it, or I was told, is that it was a big mess when the archers got from their post and allowed the other cavalry guys to flank them. it was a complete mess. Even Muslims were killing other Muslims because it was complete chaos, and they
Yes.
were running.
They forgot to greet each other properly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's like, if you want to, I don't know, you to understand the fact, maybe we should talk about the exact what happened in the Battle of Uhud. But it's like, it's a distraction of the Quran. The Quran just mentioned it kind of sideways. It's like, don't do this again. But it's not. It's nothing that pertains to, I don't know, any Muslim's life right now, or even affect the Islam in general right now. But it's connecting with the story. And as we know, Muhammad keep using the Quran in his own benefit for his own good. So when shit happens and stuff bad stuff happens to him, he will start blaming people using the words of God.
Well, he doesn't have a choice in using the Quran that way because God wrote it with all those special rules that applied only to Muhammad. I mean, like how many wives he gets to have as opposed to how many wives every other person gets to have.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Aaron, you're already a scholar on this book.
You know, you can get a degree in an Azhar for that, just that statement. 86 is my next note.
But even in battle, when you believers are offered a greeting, respond with a better one, or at least return it. God keeps account of everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Right. So the point here is regulates how to greet and return the greetings. And this is kind of a nitty-picky subject. For example,
It's irrelevant whatsoever.
it is irrelevant, but if you listen carefully, you will hear it. A full greeting of peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and his blessings, that's the full greeting,
Yes, I know.
would only
And I
be exchanged between Muslims.
And I really don't say any of this. I just say hi.
Yeah,
Literally,
right. And
and
that's
I
they
say
know,
hi.
and that's how they know you're an atheist. If you are
No,
not,
before
if you
being
are
an atheist,
right,
it's stupid to have just saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's fucking too long to say hi.
yeah, but it can save your life.
Yeah,
As we're
okay.
gonna see later. If you are not Muslim and they know it, you will
And
get
you
the
know, it's a must. Like if
right.
my parent is dying, I'm rushing it to the hospital. I have to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My parent will die before they greet me back. Just fucking say hi. Or
Right,
marhaba in Arabic. Marhaba. One word.
right.
What's funny is you
Okay.
are obliged to reply to that the greeting. So
Yeah.
this is used by some marketing people. When they come to you, they will start with the Islamic greeting, and you have no other choice but to talk to that guy and reply back. It's really annoying.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Being
No,
funny.
you don't actually have to, but let's get into it. So you will get the peace be upon you part only if they know that you're not a Muslim. Of course, Islamic zealots go about frown upon the modern day greetings like good morning, which way are you going, Shikesh, if anybody's familiar with that, or how are you, Kaif Halak, right? Or hi, as you just said, and consider it incorrect and un-Islamic. And we will come back to this subject later when we see how the mistaken murder of somebody happens when they don't return the greeting properly.
There's a question, by the way.
Yes.
I didn't see the question. I'm scrolling, but I didn't see the question.
Shall I read it?
Yes.
It says from Mr. Monster, is there any part of the Quran that could be read as historical retelling? How much of it is historical? That's what he asks.
1%? Maybe?
Well, I mean, the battles that it's talking about, I mean, those actually happened, right?
We
Yeah.
don't know
Yes.
if any of this is true.
I think it is because it was written even not from Muslim scholars, other scholars. So if you have other people writing about the same subject, I think it's true. Especially the enemies of this.
Yeah,
Independent
yeah.
corroboration.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are a lot of things that are independently corroborated, and
Yeah.
Muhammad is particularly in a very good state historically because he had messaging going on between the king of Ethiopia, between the king of Persia at that time, between the Romans. So there are some paperwork available to look at today that says this is a message from Muhammad, right? Of course, Muhammad didn't write it, and that's already established. He does not write, he does not read. He had somebody else to read it and write it for him. But at least it says this is a dictator. This is a dictum from Muhammad, and he puts his crosses at the end of it, and that's it, right?
So
In terms of
who does God choose to give his Quran, his message, his book? A guy who can't read or write. Obvious choice.
Yeah, it's like that's how
First
you.
miracle, Aaron. The first miracle.
That is used as an evidence of the Quran being true.
Actually,
Yeah.
yes.
I still
It
don't
is-
believe that he couldn't write. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a merchant.
I don't believe
He would have been
No
able
one
to
believes
know
it.
something.
It's a basic skill for a merchant to be able to write down what the heck he's selling it for how much. Right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
absolutely, without that, you're not a merchant.
And wasn't he a merchant for longer than he was a prophet or something like that?
In essence, probably
Half.
maybe yes, right? Because he started at apparently 18, and he started the profiteering business at 40. So, and it took 23 years. So, give and take a few months here and there, it's probably the same time. Like, if you want to go, which one happened more? Well, I think it's about the same amount of time. 89 is my next note.
Wait. I have something that because I was searching this verse before 86, and the explanation said that you have to say it back the greeting, except for the infidel, the liar, the okay, and the one in the toilet and the one who's eating. So if you don't have to say it to them, and if they say it to you, just say wa alaykum back to you. Just say.
I just want to get
back-
clear. If somebody gives me a greeting when I'm on the toilet, I don't have to return the greeting.
No,
Yeah, you
don't.
don't have to.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm glad because it's always awkward to have conversations.
It would be awkward.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
fine. How you
infidel,
doing?
you shouldn't say for the infidel, wa alaykum salam. You should just say wa alayk. Just say back to you. Just say
Right,
like
but
back to
again,
you.
even if the infidel greets you with the salamu alaikum, you must offer him peace back.
No,
Yeah.
that's no. And us, when an infidel says this to you, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, you should say wa alaykum, just this one word, back to you,
But the
because he's an
point is,
infidel, and you're like wasting God's name in his name, and by saying hi to him.
I won't go against that opinion. I'm
You
just
got to make
saying,
sure he's really an infidel, right?
if you are an infidel and you say peace be upon you, part of the greeting, which is the only thing you can say, legitimately, or hi, because you're a modern day infidel and you don't care about that stuff.
Because it's not
They
practical.
literally have to reciprocate that peace back to you, so they can't actually hurt you on that moment. They might get you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But by the way, 89 sounds very familiar. I'm guessing it's not abrogated.
It is, but I didn't want to break it so early in the game. So, and you thought kill them wherever you find them is kind of bad. This verse, as bad as it is
Yeah, just let me
abrogated.
read this for the audience.
Yes.
So do not take them as allies until they migrate to Medina for God's cause. If they turn on you, then seize and kill them wherever you encounter them. take none of them as an ally or supporter.
Yep.
Beseech
So
them.
if you read this, and the scholars of Islam still saw it proper to abrogate it with 9:5, it bears to open an eye here and says, wow, they want these non-believers really dead. Under no circumstance should you be allowed to exist.
So it's interesting that kill the infidel is one of the few verses that non-Muslims know about from the Quran. You know, this is not phrased that way necessarily, but the implication of kill the infidel. And it's interesting that it only says that, I think, once, but that one time contradicts everything else.
This is why I say in many places that unlike the Bible, when the Quran only mentions it once, it doesn't mean it's better.
It's not
Right.
by the number.
It's not by the number.
Yeah.
It's by where it mentions it. If it mentions it at the end, then that prevails.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, we have to make things worse. Okay, 89, we got it. We've got my next note on 90 and 91.
Okay.
If you want to elaborate it, fine, but it's abrogated by 9:5.
As is everything, it seems.
That's why I kind of just made short notes about them. It's a long beating around the bush, but the point is 9:5, done. No special cases, no this, no that. Just 9:5 them. 992, we can read through this one. Details of punishment of wrongful murder. Let's have at it.
Okay, so never should a believer kill another believer except by mistake. If anyone kills somebody, and it's funny, there's not a thou shalt not kill. It's just you shouldn't kill other believers. If they're unbelievers, kill them.
Well,
Who cares about them?
There's another.
Which is better than the thou shall not kill, because thou shall not kill, and then he orders people to kill each other, the infidels. So this is more on the right direction.
yeah, well, at least there's a punishment.
If anyone kills a believer by mistake, he must free one Muslim slave and pay compensation to the victim's relatives. Because slavery is moral, right? So everybody has slaves, right?
It's like part of the
Yeah.
compensation. It's money. You
Yeah.
free the slave. It's kind of tricky because a slave then becomes a free person, and then they can do whatever they want, which is fine. But you're
If
still
the
paying
victim
the fine.
belongs to a people at war with you, but is a believer, then the compensation is only to free a believing slave. If he belonged to a people with whom you have a treaty, then compensation should be handed over to his relatives and a believing slave set free. What about the unbelieving slaves?
Yeah. They're fucked.
Yeah, because
exactly.
unbeliever slaves have less rights even than the slaves.
Yeah, they're pretty much screwed.
They're
And
worse
anyone
than
who
women.
lacks the means to do
We have
this,
read this before. The unbeliever slaves are worse than women. There's a verse about it, but I just read it.
anyone who lacks the means to do this must fast for 2 consecutive months by way of repentance to God, who is all-knowing and all-wise. So if you accidentally kill somebody and you don't own any slaves, then you don't get to eat for 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there is an abrogation by 9:5 here, and it has something to do with treaty exemptions and whatnot. It's not they kill them because there's no killing here, but there is a treaty exemption in fight, and that is what abrogates a bit of this verse. It's here, so I mentioned it. That's all.
Yeah, I have a note for these verses all the way to 97, when it talks about the regulations of when you kill a believer, right?
Yeah.
And there's something that appears to be kind of like a contradiction, but maybe not really, because it's mentioned or I'm not sure if it's mentioned. Maybe it's just a footnote. There's believers in Mecca, right? There's people who believe in Allah, but they didn't emigrate. They're in Mecca, and they end up fighting with the people of Medina, with Muhammad.
We're coming to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're coming to that.
I'll wait.
Yes, we're not missing that one for sure. So this is 93 is, of course, and if somebody kills a believer wantingly.
An unbeliever.
No, a mu'mina muta'ammidan.
Yeah.
So he's
So
in
if you
hell
kill an
forever.
unbeliever, are you required to kill an unbeliever? Is there a fine if you kill
Well,
an
there's a
unbeliever?
reward if you kill an unbeliever. Come on.
Yes.
You're like, if you got killed in the process of killing an unbeliever, you go to heaven,
Yes.
right? If you survive, you get an enormous amount of, brownie points in heaven.
And if you don't kill him, you're a bigger man, but he'll be a slave. So kill him. It's better for him.
And he will be an unbelieving slave, so there will be very little way for him to get freed.
Yes.
Unless he decides to believe, because the heck was it.
Yeah.
493. Please read your notes.
If anyone kills a believer deliberately, the punishment for him is hell, and there he will remain. God is angry with him and rejects him and has prepared a tremendous torment for him. And my note is that Halim has a footnote here telling us that a Muslim killed someone in battle who had given him the Muslim greeting, thinking that the man was trying to save himself, but the Prophet condemned this.
Right. This is why I was saying, if you greet them with the Muslim greeting, they can't actually kill you at that moment. Like even in the heat of battle, if somebody jumps up in front of you with a sword or whatever and just says "Salaam alaikum," then you just turn around and walk away.
If somebody comes running up at you with a sword saying, "Peace be upon you."
Right. Okay.
So now we know how to fight ISIS.
You just need loudspeakers.
The movie
Right.
Mars Attacks. And all
Of
these
course,
Martians
that doesn't-
running around shooting people going, "We come in peace, blam, blam." We come in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is 93, and this should be read alongside 94, which is the verse you were talking about. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu iza darabtum. Well, my note here, just a second. It used the word daraba. There's absolutely no controversy what this daraba means.
I see.
Right? This means you travel, right? So if you go around traveling and whatnot, so this daraba is well understood. It's no problems with how to daraba and with what. You get on the camel and you freaking daraba across the desert. Okay?
I have a super chat to read. This is from G Skeptic for £5. Says, "Afternoon all. I don't think there is any reason to doubt those battles between Muslims and Meccans, that they actually happened. After all, Muhammad was a known statesman."
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. These battles probably occurred, and there are probably more evidence to the battles occurring than to the people who were present on the battles for. But
Yeah, what I doubt in those stories is the individual retelling, or when someone says that, "Oh, I have seen so and so," and usually it's one of those famous, like Sahabi or something, or "I saw the Prophet do this or that." That detail I question. I don't question the battles. All the battles happened. Historically speaking, we know there was conflict, even if not the exact details. But because there's stories, and you look at them, and you hear the story about, like, one of the famous one is like Ali or Khalid bin Walid, or one of those like famous Sahabis of fighting, and they were riding a horse. Then in another section they were dual wielding a sword, scimitars, and another. They're breaking swords all over the place, and be like, the heck is going on? Like the story kind of a little bit stretched.
We have a story about Ali, like he was going to another tribe, and they have a humongous, like huge bridge, and with his bare hands, he just jumped like a huge jump, like Adidas commercial, jumps a huge gap and opened the door with his bare hands because he was just strong. It's one of the stories. It's like all these battles are like the Titanic, and the small stories are like Jack and Rose. There's no Jack and Rose, just the Titanic really drowned, and all these are just whatever to make you feel better.
I think
I
this
like
is
that
the
take.
Yes, I think it's one of the best takes on how the history of those battles. Like, we know that Titanic like sank, but there was no Jack and Rose. There wasn't any heroics. But we know the battle happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Titanic sank. It hit an iceberg. We got all these facts, and we can actually dig up some of the Titanic today because technology. But the details about who said what, when, where. Apart from the things apart from the stuff that got logged in the investigation that followed, is basically lore at this point. Okay.
Yeah, I got references to since this surah talks about women in not very positive light. I got reference to surahs where Muhammad says all these positive things about women, like don't beat your wives, or I forgot all of them, but I mean, I wonder how many of those are actual things that he really did say, or just embellishments.
We don't know, and for what we know, the wife beating verse is one of the more controversial verses, even in Islamic circles. Everyone knows it's not okay to beat your wife. There is no way the Quran says that. This is absolutely garbage.
But do they? Because if you go to the Muslim world, like our Arabic countries, beating your wife is very common here. And it's not really, some modern laws are now put to help the woman, but really it doesn't. Because if a woman, the majority of women who got beaten by their husband, they even go to their parents. They say, just obey your husband and it's your fault. Go back to your house. So
Yeah,
they usually get away with it in modern.
Well, they do get away with it because the Quran is a legal code, and if you are an Islamic country, you're following this legal code.
Yeah, they can't be prosecuted if the Quran says this.
Right. It's just not a crime. It's not even an offense.
There are laws. No, there are now laws like that. If you abuse your wife, she can go and to the civil courts and press charges on you, and he might go to prison, but you'll still be his wife, and he won't divorce you. And when he comes out, he will fucking beat you to death. So
again, until you comply. Remember?
Yeah.
That's when you have to stop.
Yeah.
So I got a couple things to read in the chat. One of them is a question from Jojo Freelancer KUP. The ahadith are propaganda. Is there true evidence out of the alleged letters of Prophet Muhammad? Because Muhammad could mean Jesus Christ. So in name of Jesus Christ, in name of Muhammad?
What?
I'm not making sense out of that.
No.
I think
Muhammad
Jojo is saying that Muhammad is Jesus, but Muslims say.
No, we'll come to that later in this very surah. So
Really,
that doesn't make much sense to me.
No,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
It is historically known that Muhammad has diplomatic relations with the kingdom, with the Christian kingdom in Ethiopia at the time, right? He also had diplomatic relations with the Persians. He had diplomatic relations with the Roman. He did not just go to war out of the blue with them. They were talking back and forth. So there is evidence of letters being sent back and forth. And historians would be able to dig them up for sure. Whether those are actually coming from a single person called Muhammad, I can't verify that. but that the letters talk about this Muhammad person, and Muhammad said this, and Muhammad told me to say that, and whatever. Those things are happening, and they are logged and written down elsewhere. So this is the kind of third-party corroborations that we're talking about here. Okay.
And
Yeah,
and then you have all.
Oh,
Go ahead.
we have other cooperation, like, you know how some families will have a family Bible and write events on them. One of the earliest mentions of a prophet from Arabia or Muhammad is actually from trying to remember if it's a Syriac Bible or an Assyrian Bible, an Assyrian Bible. So some guy, someone high enough in the status to know how to read and write, had a Bible, and on the margins or in the beginning of it wrote every year or something like this happened, and on the year the Muslim Arabs conquered the region that he's in, he wrote down that the people of Muhammad have conquered this land, and it just like this, just one sentence on a cover of a Bible. It's like one of the earliest mentions, like, we have in our, like, people are able to find it and study it of
Right.
Muhammad as a prophet. So yeah,
Right, but this is more than what you get from Moses, for example.
oh yeah, no, I'm saying that it is the evidence that we know there was a Muhammad. We know those battles happened. We know historically that he managed to conquer Arabia before his death. So, but again, the details, little bit details here and there. The 10,000 angel fighting with them. I don't know.
Probably didn't happen. Okay,
Yeah.
so my last note on 93.
Joshua have a
sorry.
reply. Joshua have a reply for her comment.
Oh, yeah, I was saying there was also one in Egypt, I think, by an Egyptian priest detailing a warlord coming out of Arabia conquering the Arabs. Something like that.
Yeah.
Although he didn't specifically
the Gnostic
mention
Christian wrote a lot of stuff down and put it in jars in the desert, which really preserved them.
Yeah.
They put it in jars in the desert because a lot of their scripture was deemed heretic and was not canonized, and they were afraid to lose it, so they hid it, and because of that, it's actually preserved in its original form. So my last note on this one is also in the light of 486, which is the greeting verse. It is important how to greet, because it can save your life. Given 94, right? So you should not kill anybody who greets you. Make sure whatever you're going to fight and kill is going to be an infidel, because, yeah, those are good to go. Carry on.
I have to read. Robert Lawrence gave I guess this is a super chat, $10. So thank you very much for that, Robert. All right, and on to your next note.
Yes, next note is 497 to 100.
Okay,
Basically, yeah, it's a big chunk.
So before we jump all the way over there, I mean, my objection was before that there's going to be Muslim believers among the Meccan people. So
Yes.
you're going to end up killing them during these battles. So do you go to hell or do you not
go
go
to
to
hell.
hell?
You go to hell.
But they were attacking you. I mean,
Right,
they're from Mecca.
Right, but no. But that's why 97 to 100 is actually a block, because this is where it explains, as strange as it sounds, if you can't practice Islam, then leave to where you can practice it properly. These verses are strange and unusual. Basically, leaving in a place where you can't practice Islam is your fault unless you absolutely can't leave.
So you don't go to hell if you kill them intentionally.
No, you don't go
No.
to hell because it's their fault now.
Okay.
But
Right,
they would go to hell.
They would go to
So
hell.
the believers
because
who didn't
why
move
didn't
to
they
another
leave?
land will go to hell.
So
Now,
Medina people, even though they're killing Muslims intentionally, they don't go to hell, but the others do. right? Or
No,
not
they
quite?
don't go to hell because they could leave.
Are we? Okay.
let
Are
me
we
let me
talking?
try to explain it.
No.
That's
Depends
the
on who's
contradiction that I see.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's
quite.
not a contradiction. If they're Muslims living with the kuffar in Mecca and not leaving, it's their fault if they get killed in the battle with the Muslims from Medina. Right? The Muslims from Medina are okay to kill the Muslims from Mecca because they should have left by now.
I'm trying to imagine the mindset of somebody who could read all of this and consider it divine.
And peaceful.
Yeah,
I
you're basically
Yes.
putting your own people against one another. I mean,
I don't think you're going to find a lot of these in this room. So basically what it says that if you are a Muslim and you are living under the thumb of non-Muslims, you should leave. And if you don't, it's your fault. Now, except makes the exception if you absolutely can't leave. And that's a specific category because some people were Muslims, but they were slaves to infidels. And they could not leave because they were slaves and they were being guarded. And if they left the city, they would be caught and brought back, right? So
or old people as well, old people and children.
Well, they could be young, and they could be, and a lot of the infidels during the battles with Muhammad, they brought their slaves with them, and some of these slaves were Muslim.
Yeah,
but
what I got in my version is that some of them might not be able to make the trip, like if they have some handicap or.
Right, but that's not the category. Yes, that's a category. But the ones you're going to end up fighting are the ones that are able-bodied, strong, and slaves because they can't leave. Because we're talking about fighting here, and whose fault if they get killed, right? So in this case, because the ones who are not able-bodied, who are too weak to even make the journey, they're not going to be out fighting you.
I think this whole verse is a backlash from Muhammad when he asked people to migrate to Medina and they didn't migrate. So he's backlashing at them because they didn't migrate, they're going to hell. That's it.
I can't get into the head of Muhammad. I'm sorry.
Because he's literally in this verse they say if we couldn't do it because we're very weak, and God says the land is very big. Why didn't you migrate?
Right.
And you will be going to hell.
Yeah. It's your fault if you don't
Mm.
migrate. So, yeah.
Mm.
Did that clarify this?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
A little.
A little.
Let's just keep going.
Oh, sure.
It's confusing. I mean,
Except-
I gotta.
Yeah, 98 will spare the men and the weak men and women and the kids who are sick.
Right.
So this excludes them. They won't go to hell.
Right. Because they're too weak to even move. So there you go. Right.
There's a
But
pretty
they are
strong
not- but
division
these
there.
are-
I mean, whether
Yeah.
whether you get allowed into heaven or hell, those are extreme dichotomies, and it's not just on a technicality. Well, I couldn't really afford it. I was in some capacity helpless. There's not a gray area there. I mean, that's quite a precipice, don't you think?
Yeah, these paywalls to go to heaven or
Yeah.
some issue.
Yeah, it's a situation where Muhammad is trying to weaken the Meccan and strengthen his side. So he's trying to get everyone from the other side to come to him, no matter what's the cost. So leave everything, and a lot of people did. Leave your money back, leave your family back, and come join me. So that's the situation he's trying to now. He won one battle, they won one battle, and they're trying to the deck is kind of trying to settle down, or they're trying to face each other in open battle again. But yeah, he doesn't want to kill, because another thing, Muhammad still have families in Mecca. And one of his uncles, still the head of the family, still in Mecca. He knows him secretly being a Muslim, but at the same time, he doesn't want to kill him, but he basically saying, if you end up in a battle against us in an open field, you will die. stay home, pretend to be weak, and pretend to be sick.
But isn't that against Islamic rules now?
What?
The Muslims eventually came back to Mecca and conquered.
Yes, but if you read what happened in the conquer of Mecca, it wasn't a big open slaughter battle. It was more like an agreement of surrender. Because the Meccan side by that time they lost a lot of their fighting power. They couldn't fight anymore.
Yeah, and Islam expanded by that time.
Yes, and what happened, Muhammad told people, if you stay in your houses, you'll be safe. So even if you are a Muslim, weak Muslim who couldn't travel at that time, you just stay at home.
So let me see if I get this straight. Say you're a Muslim, right, and you don't want to migrate with Muhammad because you don't want to fight your own friends from Mecca, then you might get killed.
Yes.
Go to
Right.
hell.
So is this speaking against peace?
Yes, in that sense.
Okay.
Because, as we know earlier, it says that you do not take the non-believers as allies.
Yeah.
Which means you cannot side with them against Muslims in any way, shape, or form. If it was a physical fight or a discussion, argument, or nothing.
So it is like if you're either with me or against me. There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I remember one time me and a Muslim were arguing a point against another Muslim, and the Muslim that was arguing the same point with me, knowing that I'm an ex-Muslim, had to make it clear that he is not my ally, and that's exactly his words, that he is not my ally in front of everyone and God, so he doesn't get kicked out of the religion. Even though we are arguing the same point, but because I'm not a Muslim and we are arguing against a Muslim, he's like, I'm just make it clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think all these verses are like Muhammad trying to gain more manpower, because
Yes.
now in verse 100 he will give them, he promised them heaven.
Well, he promises heaven to anybody who supports him.
No, but now he's saying who lives and migrates,
Yeah.
God will give him lots of gain and lots of wealth, and if he dies while coming to Muhammad, he will go to heaven.
Yeah.
That's such great currency, isn't it? I just
Yes, it
declared
is.
myself super rich in God, so I can now just give away God stuff. So if you believe this, then you believe what I'm saying specifically, then you will be greatly rewarded. And I don't ever have to pay up any of this fortune because it's after you die.
Yeah.
They were saying
Smart
that.
ass.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Muhammad
sorry.
was smart ass.
Yeah. He found
Yeah.
an unlimited amount of reward money to distribute. For 101,
101. When you believers are traveling in the land, you will not be blamed for shortening your prayers if you fear the disbelievers may harm you. They are your sworn enemies. Now, there's another concept, sworn enemy. You have to swear that someone is going to be your enemy.
no, it's just English.
Okay.
They are your enemies, just English being the way English is.
Okay.
But I think Mubinan, like
Well, they are obvious.
obvious.
Yes, that would be
Obvious
obvious and
acts.
not sworn.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this is the rule about shortening the prayer if there is a danger, right? And there is also a rule about shortening the prayer when you travel for a certain distance and beyond. So prayer can be shortened in Islam if there are circumstances. 102, take turns when praying in a group in case a possible enemy attack. That's the other verse here. The point here is it is upon every Muslim who are going to pray in a group to pray in the same group. Right? Now, never mind that there are multiple mosques in a city and people just go to one mosque and pray there. But if you are traveling together or you are together for some reason, and the prayer time comes and somebody is going to be the imam and he prays in front, not all the soldiers should go and pray after him on the prayer time. Leave some people behind to guard the area, right? And when the first group finishes prayer, they can come and pray.
It's war
Instead.
tactics. War
It's
tactics.
a war tactic. So this is what it is for. This is what it is used for, and it is here.
So I got another, looks like a super chat here, I guess. Golb's Hatred. I guess that's pronounced it. $5, thank you. It says, just wanted to pass on. Someone just told me I'm going to receive Allah's worst wrath by listening to a non-proper interpretation of the holy works.
Yes, you are. We are.
Non-proper.
Non-proper.
Well, do as well as we can.
Yeah, well, I do my best to listen to both sides of the coin. I mean, I'm already on thin ice with the Islamic Center of Studies for asking too many questions.
You get that way
That's
with
a no-no.
Christianity too. You can get booted just for being too curious.
Yeah,
Curiosity is not good for Abrahamic religion.
I'm
No, they're
as
not.
respectful as I can be.
The only one that's actually managed to curb enthusiasm for asking questions are the Jews. If you ask a rabbi a question, he will answer with a question, and then
Yep.
you're stuck.
I've noticed that.
No, but we have something called musallamat, which is don't ask. Why is this? Because that's musallamat. Why is this? Because not musallamat. Why is this? Because that's musallamat. Musallamat means what does it mean? Musallamat is just because.
They are just are.
So Muslims' answer is just because. Yeah, just because.
Okay.
103 is the next one. Yes, delusion has to be maintained, but it also speaks of prayer for those who are severely ill or disabled. So you can pray standing upright and not doing the movements because, I don't know, you broke your leg or something. Sitting
you are sick.
because you can't stand up, so on a wheelchair still works. Or laying on their sides for really bedridden people, and must be done and still must be done on time. I don't think the Quran actually details all the prayer times, but we can discuss if it does. I don't think it does.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I have seen sick people doing their prayer in bed with their finger.
Yes.
Really?
My mom was
Right.
dying and she was literally, she couldn't move and she was like, she wants to pray. And I gave her, it's calming, so we can't judge that, but yeah.
So Muslims must pray on time, even in their deathbed. 124 is my next up, unless somebody has something in between.
Yeah, 105 is the story about the shield.
Yes.
I mean, I was told this ayah was put there because of the whole thing about some stolen shield.
Yes, from a Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They hid it in a
was-
Jewish place.
I mean, jabs against Jews are common here in the Quran, right?
Yeah, it's well, it's supposed to be like the Jew is innocent in this case, which actually it warrants for. It warns against judging in favor of somebody who is deceitful, even if he was on your tribe. Okay, it's 124 then.
Wait, I have another comment.
Yes.
On 119.
Okay.
This is what, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is why cosmetic surgery, tattoos, and even genetic tampering are against Islam. That's the verse.
119.
119. It says you should not alter God's creation. This is prohibited.
Yes, it's one of the general there's a ruling in Islam about the Quran will bring a general statement and the Hadith will specify it. So we know the Quran come with this: do not change the creation of Allah. And then Muhammad said in a special Hadith that God curses the one that the women that tattoo themselves and the women that pluck their eyebrows and like do stuff for beauty, like cosmetic.
Even straightening your teeth, I believe.
Even
Yes.
straighten your teeth and that because that make women more appealing for men. So all the women every Muslim woman who ever wore a braces, she's cursed by Allah because of the beauty reasons.
I missed this verse entirely. This is a big old deal. You're not allowed to duck the ears of the cattle to mark them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused because when I read 119, the English translation I have says, "I will mislead them and incite vain desires in them." What am I missing?
Well, you're
Oh.
misleading. Allah misleads them if they do these things. So they will become unbelievers and they go to hell.
Like if they seek.
I don't see the
earthly.
cosmetic references here.
The
Which verse
cosmetic
is that?
reference is a takeaway from you can't mark the ear of the cattle, and you can't change. You can't change God's creation, so you can't have those beef cows that you have. You
Yeah,
just have
these are two different things. One is in general, don't alter God's creation. That includes cutting the ear of cattle, but also includes doing modifications on yourself, as subtle as they might be.
piercings.
The whole
tattoos.
Cutting the ear of the cattle was a pre-Islamic costume.
It's even practice today. You know, farmers would have a certain cut in the ear of the animal just to mark it from the neighbor's herd that has a different cut. Now, today what we do is we actually put an earring, a tag, in the cow's ear with a number on it. I guess we still put a hole punch in the ear. So
somebody in the chat implies that there may be a prohibition in the Quran against twerking.
I would keep an open eye for that.
Not in heaven, only in real life.
And not in this surah for sure. I don't think it's in this surah. So maybe men should not be twerking. Okay, 120 is the next. 124, I guess we can get there now.
Okay, anyone, male or female, who does good deeds and is a believer will enter paradise and will not be wronged by as much as a dip in a date stone.
Your notes, please.
My note was, but if you don't believe because God decided to mislead you, then this book says you will be severely wronged indeed.
Yeah. So unless you pass the threshold of being utterly deluded, no matter how much good deeds you're going to do, you're going to hell.
Yeah, what I found researching this one is that it appears that Muslims, Christians, and Jews argued about which religion was better, and it's you're supposed to demonstrate it with acts of faith and obedience to Allah. That's what I found. Like they were each trying to defend their own religion, saying which one is better, but you can't. And this is from 123 and 124, which is the one that you just read.
Mm-hmm.
There's a super chat here from Grimlock, $5, says, do the doctors wake you up during surgery for prayer, or do they plan around that?
You are excused for being unconscious because you're asleep by drugs, right? Because they're doing surgery on you, and altering God's creation, most likely just by removing your appendix. and saving your life. So I don't know what to do with this verse. That would make amputations illegal in Islam, which is bullocks, because they did amputate even at that time, and nobody said anything about it.
What about circumcisions?
Exactly.
There
That's
you
the
go.
thing.
That's the biggie.
thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I wasn't even thinking in that direction, but there, yeah. 124. We got that.
Didn't we just do that one?
Yeah, we did. We did. Okay, next one is 128.
Okay.
128 is the other side of the wife beating verse.
If a wife fears high-handedness or alienation,
the same
from her
word,
husband,
by the way.
neither of them will be blamed if they come to a peaceful settlement, for peace is best. Although human souls are prone to selfishness, if you do good and are mindful of God, he is well aware of all that you do.
Yeah, somewhat better balanced would be she would be able to beat him until he comes to his senses. That would, I wouldn't be saying fair, but it would be fairer than this.
There was
I know some men would really look battered badly because wives sometimes are quite strong.
I did a bit part in a low-budget movie that I don't know is ever going to be released, but I get murdered in this film, and it was this this petite young woman that's supposed to murder me with a kitchen knife. And as we're filming this, I told her that in order to look believable, she was going to have to punch me in the ribs as hard as she can. And that she's welcome to do that. She's not going to hurt me. She's too small. The thing I didn't expect that we were going to shoot that scene 15 times.
Oh, that'll leave a mark.
So he's punching me in the same place 6 times per take.
I have a question. Is this the movie where the roles are reversed between atheists and theists?
No, but it's the same guy who did that movie.
Oh,
Yeah, this is another movie by that same person.
I see.
Nice. So that's 128 for you.
What's the name of it? Just curious.
The name of the moon. Oh man, I can't even remember. I mean, I can get you a message later, but I'd have to look it up. I remember the first movie that you asked about was Gothsploitation, also known as Learning Hebrew. I don't know what the two titles have to do with each other. Gothsploitation, I think, is the better title there. And the Divine on Fire is what the other one is. And the take on that is that like all conspiracy theories are true. Whether we're just like everybody randomly believes all kinds of conspiracy theories, and I play a conspiracy theorist preacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll look good on that role, let me tell you.
I do have like one decent scene where they put me in a red light with a backdrop of all these ridiculous conspiracies behind me, and I'm giving this absurd rant that they let me write myself that was based on real conspiracy theories from people here in Texas, because this was being filmed in London, and so I'm playing a Texas preacher, obviously, in London, giving all these similar things. And the response from the people that were in the room when I did that rehearsal, it was confusion as to how people live in a society where people randomly or commonly believe this kind of stuff. Remember that we just had hundreds of people go to downtown Dallas a few days ago looking for the dead JFK and the dead JFK Jr. to show up again and make a personal appearance.
Well, they surely believed it.
Yeah, the point is that people are much dumber than I ever thought they could be, and will believe any kind of crap.
Well, that's kind of a sad, true statement, as it is. 137 is my next note, unless somebody has something before that.
Well, I have an apologetic to throw
Okay.
about 127.
127.
Yeah. I was told this verse improves and defends the rights of women and children because before Islam, you could marry your orphan adopted women and
Yeah.
not give them the mahar or the dowry, or you can keep them from marrying somebody else and keep her possessions.
Yeah, this verse is here, and it's already being superseded by the legal requirements of paying the dowry to the woman and returning the dowry to the woman upon divorce and yada yada. So this is a superseded verse. It's not abrogated because it's in line with the previous, but this is a chewed down bone here, right? If the other verses that regulated these aspects weren't there before this verse, it would have been important. But the way it is just a bunch of words that say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at it myself and go like, why is he bringing this up here? Like, what's the new, right? And it wasn't. There was just nothing new here. 137 actually is one of my notes, and this is just a play on words. The point is, if they don't believe, they are done.
For those who believe, then reject the faith, then believe again, then reject the faith again, and become increasingly defiant, God will not forgive them, nor will he guide them on a path.
Yeah.
Double apostasy.
Double apostasy is double bad.
So
Okay.
is it not contradict the previous verse where apostasy was told by Allah to be not forgiven ever?
Yeah,
but now he's
yeah.
allowing one.
Yeah, no. The problem is you're an apostate, and you're very much so you're going to hell. Doesn't matter whether you believe one day.
He's right. There was that earlier thing that apostasy would not be forgiven. I mean, it's just like with the Bible, when you can't blaspheme the Holy Spirit, when you say there is no Holy Spirit, when you say it's all made up, you've blasphemed the Holy Spirit. That you can never be forgiven for that. Yeah. So if you backslide and become Christian again, then you cannot be forgiven for having once been in that position. And Islam says the same thing here. You can't be forgiven for being apostate ever. And then if you go back to believing it, well, then you're forgiven. So it is a contradiction.
It's now contradicting that one.
It is. And the situation is that if you tell a Muslim that or ask a Muslim about that, and I will give you the answer that I would have given you when I was a Muslim, is I don't know who would be forgiven or not, especially like specifically. Only God knows that. And even though God said that if you do this thing, you will not be forgiven, he still might forgive you because it's up to him to forgive or not to forgive.
Yeah, this verse is, I think, it's just a plain word, because as you read it from the beginning, so once you believed and then you disbelieved, the story ends there, because then your head rolls.
Yeah.
And
see,
there is no point in the rest of the verse because you're already dead.
Looks like I've got another super chat to read here. Let's see. Jojo Freelancer KUP says a question to you people. Do you think that the Sūrah story is like Muhammad began with, like Jesus? He preached, but then he went to Medina and became Moses? And Medina could be Midian? No, that's definitely not my interpretation.
Nobody thinks about this way.
I'm a little confused there.
Jojo has also a previous chat asking if Muhammad was also Jesus.
Yeah, but very clearly not.
If he was, he would know a lot of things about Jesus, and he doesn't.
I think Jojo is implying that Muhammad was either he was Jesus, or and Muslim put another name to him, or he was impersonating Jesus.
If he
neither one.
Jojo,
It
Yeah, I know.
can't be Jesus, because there's a part where somebody goes to Jesus and asks for like proof of miracles, and he says you have to go to Muhammad now.
Yeah, that's
So-
not, I don't think that's in the Quran. That's actually in a different set. I was reading
Right.
some Islamic stories from like 1200 CE, and it was a Persian that is experimenting with leaving Zoroastrianism, and he goes into Arabia, and he seeks out Jesus, and Jesus is still alive, never died, never was crucified, comes out of his house every day and heals a bunch of lepers and goes back home. And so this guy comes up and meets Jesus and asked him, and Jesus said, well, I'm not the final prophet. You need to go talk to Muhammad.
Yeah, if you hang around to the end of this surah, we will have more about Christianity than meets the eye. Because there is.
I see, because there's a question he asked again that there is. I haven't seen the podcast on Myth Vision, to be honest with you, so I don't know what exactly you're referring to. But yeah, the messianic Jewish origin of the Quran, I don't doubt it. I question it maybe, but I don't doubt it. Could be a reason. We know that there's no way in hell or in heaven a book like the Quran comes out of nothing. So it has to have. Well, we know the stories from the Bible. There's a lot of stories from the Bible. There's a lot of stories from the myths of the region. There's stories
Old
from
Testament.
Zoroastrian, and it's all tied, like kind of getting blended in this Arabic book, which isn't the language of the other religion or the other text at all. Because Zoroastrians, they are mainly Persian, so all their text was in Persian. The Christian had their text in Syriac and Assyrian. The Jews had their text in Hebrew and Greek. Both Jews and Christian had their text in Greek. So all those stories come in to the Quran, and the evidence for the Quran being like an outsider looking, kind of collecting all those stories and build them together, more prevalent than just one group just building on it and just went aside. And then the reason I say that, if you read the stories in the Quran, they are mainly references to the main stories in the Bible, and they don't elaborate about them. So it's more like just like, if you want to read the whole story, go read it in the Bible. I'm just telling you something in it.
Yeah, in this regard, it is a distinct document. Yes, it mentions the Bible not once, but maybe 100 times.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it the same document because of a lot of the mentions are different from what you would read in the Bible today, and we know what those differences come from. And then there's a lot of things that are different from the Bible today because it's absolutely, completely bonkers different. And we're going to see them in the next about 30 minutes come up.
Well,
Because
Jojo
that's
is
the
saying,
part of, yes.
apparently, Misvision by Samuel, whoever, believes that there is a messianic Jewish origin of the Quran.
I don't think about origin out loud, let's say it influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's influenced. Yeah, of course.
It's influence. Nobody's denying the influence. I don't think it's an origin.
Yeah, and the funny part, the Quran even mentions something, a contradiction in the Bible, and kind of make fun of it, of the story of Noah. In the story of Noah, if you read the Bible, there's multiple pairs of animals. The clean animals, how many clean animals, how many non-clean animals. You know the story. So the Quran kind of make fun of it and said, which pairs of animals did you have to take? Or how many 7 animals did you have to take? Because the Bible mentions multiple pairs. So the Quran, whoever wrote the Quran knew the story and kind of was making fun of it. So we know well, God didn't write the Bible or he didn't write the Quran. It's either or.
And then consequently goes ahead and makes the inheritance numbers wrong.
Yep.
Yep.
There's also contradictions. In the Quran, there is no tree of life, or no, tree of knowledge.
But there is a tree of life.
No, there's only one. That's what I'm trying to say. Instead of two trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 137. Did we go through that one?
Yep.
I think we
Okay,
started
then.
to.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Then 140 is the next.
140. All right, as he has already revealed to you, believers in the scripture, if you hear people denying and ridiculing God's revelation, do not sit with them unless they start to talk of other things, or else you yourselves will become like them.
So everyone watching us now is going to
God will
us.
gather all the
Yay.
hypocrites and disbelievers together into hell.
And everyone watching us now who's a Muslim is going to hell.
Is that why you're running away from the show?
Yep.
140. Let's read it. Here's the bad news part. We had our fun. This one is abrogated by 9-5. Oh.
Okay.
So, me wearing Ali's gay T-shirt today, which I am, given this verse and its abrogation, is punishable by death in this world and hellfire in the afterlife. Do you think I'm scared?
Well, not of the hellfire in the afterlife.
No.
Yeah, hell is not the tiniest bit of concern for me. It's the people who want to send me there in a hurry that I'm worried about.
Well, you're safe where you are.
It's the fan club that's the problem.
Yeah.
Manchester United is a fine football club. It's the fan club that's the problem. No offense to Manchester fans, by the
You're
way.
going to start talking about Manchester United. You're going to start a whole different fight now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. This was just a fleeting idea. It's the fan club that's the problem. Okay, 148 is my next.
Jumping to 148. Where?
There's 144.
Get out of jail free card.
You want to? What's in 144?
142 is good as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to go 142?
Yep.
Yeah, it talks about how God deceives people again.
The hypocrites try to deceive God. How do you deceive God?
How do you do that? That would be something I would like to know. I would look like an absolute, genuine Muslim, and God would just let me in heaven.
But elsewhere in the Quran it says that God controls absolutely everything that we do, everything
he
that
knows.
we think or believe.
So how can you
Yes.
deceive him? Like,
So he's deceived the people into trying to deceive God.
To be fair, at least my version says try to. I mean, it doesn't say they
Yeah,
accomplish
it says that here too. Try.
No,
to
it's
deceive God.
yukhadi'una is not trying.
Yes, it's not yuhawilun. It's doing the do.
Right.
See,
It's not
that's why I'm here.
Right.
I don't get those little
No.
And
bits of information.
And then if you read how God responded to them, is God, He is the one that deceived them. It's not. So basically, it's God playing hide and seek with himself.
Yeah.
Both sides of the chessboard.
And winning.
Exactly. He's playing himself in chessboard and winning.
What's the word bogey in Arabic? You said it's not try, right?
That is yukhadi'un. It's just
Just-
deceive.
Okay.
إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ. There is no try. There is do. I know it sounds
Yeah,
roguish, but there is
I'll
no
look it
try.
up.
There is just do. There is.
Well,
Thank you,
yuhawiluna. When you say yuhawilun, it means
Yeah.
trying in Arabic. Yuhawilun. But it's just stating that the hypocrites are deceiving God by showing the opposite of what they think, but God is deceiving them.
By misleading them and sending them to hell because because I'm
144.
God. I'm gonna get to deceive you. Ha ha. 144 asks you next. Yes.
All right, coming back to that one. You who believe, do not take the disbelievers as allies and protectors instead of believers. Do you want to offer God clear proof against you?
Yeah, just wanna read. Want you to read it.
Do you want to read my notes? Is that what you're asking?
No, I just wanted to read the verse.
No, just the
Oh, the
verse.
verse. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
It's a jewel on its own, but there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so our
And 45 will state that there are also layers like in heaven. There are also layers in hell.
yeah.
So
And they're in
we
the
are going
bottom
to the lowest layer of hell.
Okay, well, this also has an interesting implication. The hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will
The
find no one
best
to help them.
place.
Which
The
implies
best.
that in the higher depths of hell, then when you're not so deep in hell, that maybe someone can, I don't know, hand down a rope or something.
Yeah, because but because in Islam, some people will not go to hell forever. Some people who maybe like kill someone, they will go to hell for a period of time, then they'll go to heaven.
The Muslims.
Yeah, if they
mainly
Yeah, the
the
Muslims,
Muslims.
the Mu'mins, yes, the Mu'mins.
They
Of
are
course,
the ones who
Muslims.
can get out of hell at
Yes,
some point.
they'll like be tortured and be unskinned and tortured the worst tortures ever for a couple of million of years. Then God will put them back in heaven. That's the Mu'min ones, yes, the believers.
And no deathbed conversions.
Yeah.
We already had
Yeah,
that.
of course, yes, of course.
Yeah, deathbed conversions doesn't work in Islam.
Nope. We already have that cemented down. Okay, 148.
148. God does not like bad words.
Really?
The fuck? The fuck?
Okay,
Really?
he is all hearing and all knowing. Well,
Somebody is feeding back.
Yes.
It's not me. I'm muted.
no. It's the dog was making noise back here.
No,
Well, I can still hear it, and it's
Now it's
certain.
gone. It's gone.
No, it's
Oh.
still there. I still hear it. What the hell is that?
I can't
What's going on?
read that. I'm on my headphone. It's a high pitch, very high. I don't know why it is there. Okay, I'm gonna mute my.
Yep.
Okay, what do
Maybe it's a problem with the ground wiring. I'm thinking.
Same? How about now?
Still here.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I can barely hear him.
Now
Like,
it's
I don't know.
lower.
Yeah, but I can't hear him speak.
I can hear.
You can't hear me speak now.
I can hear you speak.
Very.
So you can't hear me talking now.
No,
I
not
hear you,
from
but
not from the microphone. Not from
volume
the
is low.
microphone. Something else is picking your sound up.
Okay, so my dog came in here and got all feisty. Maybe he pulled something out. All right, y'all continue.
Okay, one.
Please mute.
What?
Aaron, wait.
Mute.
My ears are bleeding.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Ah.
Oh, bro.
All right, 148. Sorry about that for everyone who's listening to this. We will figure out the technical difficulties. 148 is the next one. I will need a fatwa here. What does this mean? I'm guessing if someone has been wronged, they can speak out all the bad ways, all the bad words they were wronged with, and not to bleep out the bad words and silence the speech thing Or am I wrong here? What this verse is?
Oh,
I think
Oh,
if you
okay.
can
I have an interpretation here, because I did look it up in the other language, and it says it's sort of like slander. What he's talking about, like make.
You can. My question is, if somebody, let's say, robbed you in the desert, and he used bad words while doing it, you can say the robbery happened this way and this way and this way, and those bad words happened and happened and happened, and you're
Well,
okay to say those. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna read you what it says in Spanish, and you
Okay.
tell me how wrong am I.
I have to brush up on my Spanish.
Yeah,
in
no, I'm
English.
gonna read it in English. It says God does not like that the errors of others are made public. Like
When okay.
like that guy does this and that. Like
There's
speaking.
a verse. There's a verse that say, "وَإِنْ بَلِيتُمْ بِالْمَعَاصِي فَاسْتَتِرُوا." If you do something wrong, don't talk about it. But I think this verse saying that you can't slander or bad talk anything or anyone unless he harmed you. Like if, like Bogi said,
Yeah.
if someone robbed you, you can say that this man is a thief and he robbed me. But
True.
if someone didn't harm you and you know he did something bad, don't say it.
Yeah, that's
Didn't
the
harm you.
exception that I forgot to add. And I'm sorry I can't be of much help, because for this surah, the English versions are better. They have more resolution.
This surah is difficult in Arabic, so don't worry about it.
I can tell.
one of the things, if you read the tafsirs about this ayah, that it talks about how the jahr basawt, which is that the talk very loudly about it, is basically connecting with the prayer. So you cannot pray publicly against someone or against something happen unless something bad happened to you. If someone steals some, like let's say you wake up in the morning, you are in a hurry to go to work, you go outside, your car is not there. Someone stole your car during the night. Now you could pray against that person because someone did something wrong to you. But in a general sense, you cannot just go and pray against Muslims.
It's not like praying. It's like saying da'wah.
Yes.
In Arabic, تدعي عليه. And you can say God punish him. If he didn't harm you, you can't say God punish this person. But if he harms you, you can say it, and God will hear your prayers.
Yeah, the best word I can bring to the table is slander.
Yes.
It's not slander. It's shit.
Yeah, I know, but my version is not as good as the English ones for this.
So let me say this. If someone harmed you, you can ask God to harm this person back. That's the whole verse is about. If he harmed you, you can ask God to harm him, and God will listen. But you can't ask for harming some stranger.
So you can publicly say that somebody is a robber or a mugger or beat me up or whatever, if it is true.
No, if they did it to you.
And you are the suffering party.
No, if they did it to you, because if you hate someone, you can't say, no, Allah yantaqim minnu, or God hurts him, or God take him, okay? But if this person hurt you, you can say, God, please take revenge on my behalf, and God will listen.
Okay. My problem is الجهر بالسوء من القول, right? إلا من ظلم. Right. So.
And then said God will listen. So I agree with Mubarak on this.
Right. God is a good listener. He kind of listens in on your conversation.
Yeah.
But
how about now?
Yeah, still doing it.
It's gone.
Yep. We can go to 150, 151. So for those who disbelieve with God and the Prophet, this message wants to make a distinction between them saying we believe in some but not other, seeking the middle way. Those are really kafirs. They are a really bad disbeliever, and they will go to hell very much. This is a prohibition against heresy, which is to select 13 items that you believe, and to select other items they say those are garbage. We
And
don't believe them.
yes, and there are people, like I know people, shout out to them because I think they're listening. They say that I believe in God. There is a God, but I don't believe in the prophets. Others will say I believe in God and in the prophets, but I don't believe in these certain verses.
I'm stumped.
So
Well, this
I'm
is the
telling
verse.
them, to God in the Quran, you're also an infidel. So
Yeah,
just stop doing it.
yeah. Heresy is infidelism, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting that it is here, but it is here, and it's kind of like I can just pick and choose whatever I believe from the Quran and throw out the bad verses. Unfortunately, 150 is going to ruin your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of the Shahada, right? Which is
Shahada?
why it's not permitted.
It's not
Shahada,
only
sorry.
no.
I butcher
The
Shahada,
Shahada
yeah.
is an overarching statement that you make, right?
Yeah, you have to believe in God and His messenger.
Right, but I don't believe in
Sorry,
beating.
sorry.
I don't believe in the verse of beating
and Ali,
wives.
please, and Ali.
Right.
No,
will
don't say the Ali one. If you say the Ali one, you're going to hell.
Well, if you don't say
What?
the Ali one, you're going to hell.
Can you explain that, Mubarak?
It's
It's a Mubarak.
Please.
Because
in Shia, we have to say the three. We have to say Allah. Okay, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah and Muhammadan Rasulullah and Ali Waliullah. So we have to say that God is a God, Allah is a God, Muhammad is his prophet, and Ali is Wali. Is what I don't know what Wali means. He's the carrier of the message, if you want. I don't know. The carrier is a descendant of Muhammad. I don't
Leader, yeah.
Leader, yeah.
Leader
or kind of a sainthood more status than anything.
Yes. So in Shia, you have to say these three, or you're going to hell. If you don't say the three, your religion is not completed.
Yeah.
Because Muhammad says that Ali should be the wali, and you define Muhammad who's the prophet of God. So you're defining God. So your religion is not completed. So you're an infidel. So you're going to hell.
Yeah, and so
and
if you
consider
ask.
Khawarij.
If you ask Sunnis, they will say no. You only have to say Allah and Muhammad. And Ali is, yes, he is the wali, but you don't have to announce it and proclaim it just like Muhammad and Allah.
Actually, don't be so loud about it.
Actually, we have this. We have a hadith, or not hadith. We have actually hadith. It says that when you die and go to, when you put in the graves, and the angels will come, and the serpent, we have a serpent and angel come in the graves while we're dead. The first question this serpent will ask us to the shahada. We have to say the three of them, and then she will ask us to list the 12 waliyin, imam, 12 imam by heart. So if we don't say it, we're going to hell, and we'll be tortured in the graves.
You have a lot of work in the grave there.
Yes.
I know. That's why the Sunnis are easier. You just say you're Muslim and Muhammad is your messenger, and then you're good.
No, we have to say Ali, and we have to remember by order the 12 imams, and they're difficult. They're really difficult to remember.
Yeah, if you're mistaken Ja'far al-Sadiq with al-Baqir, then you're gone.
Yeah.
This sounds very similar to the disagreement between Catholics and Protestants.
It is basically on. That's the funny thing when it comes down to religion. When you ask, if you are an outsider and you ask people in the religion why are they different? It's basically from an outsider point of view, it's nothing. It's like, oh no, we didn't like Ali, we liked Abu Bakr, so we chose to ally this way, and we were like, no, we didn't like Abu Bakr, we liked Ali, so we are this way, and then you have the third party saying, no, we didn't like any of them, so we'll go the third way. And they fought each other to death.
But I have read that the big separation happened and Sunnah and Shia came to life in the 14th century. So it's not really immediately after Muhammad died.
Yeah.
So I like, yeah.
There was a separation in the political leaders, but the theology behind it wasn't really established until the 13 by the
Yes.
Safavid and the Ottomans, basically,
Yes.
when they really
There
came
is-
into power.
There is a YouTube video about this subject. It's about half an hour long, and I watched it, and I actually liked it, and we can link it in sometimes. It's this guy does history things, and he just picks that period, and then he actually addresses the subject of the Islamic Shia / Sunni schism as a historical set of events. And I watched it. I was going like, yeah,
I'm talking about the terminology of Shia and Sunnah wasn't there till late,
right,
the 1200s or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. If you watch that video, you see that this thing happened little by little, and it kept on building slowly, and there were certain events that pushed it
Politics.
in certain direction. Yeah,
Politics.
it's 90% politics. But yeah, there you go. Anyways, so 150 and 151 ruins your day if you try to pick and
Are you
choose
still
which
getting
verses
feedback
to
from
follow.
me?
No, you're
Yeah.
good.
No.
You could.
All right, thank you.
And you missed a debate between me and Mubarak about Shia and Sunnah.
Yes. Yes. So the next point I'll bring it up is 157, 158.
Well, wait. 152 is important because we shouldn't separate between even the prophets.
Yes, you shouldn't. And this is one of the basic edicts of Islam, is that you believe in the prophets and all the prophets, and this way just elucidates it, that you don't distinguish, don't discriminate between the prophets. So
Yes.
Muslims have to believe on the other prophets. They have to believe in Jesus being
And Moses.
prophet, and Moses and Aaron,
The 7,000 other prophets.
and the
small
50,000 other prophets that nobody knows the names of. They have to believe it, right? And maybe you should incorporate it into your doctrine of the torture of the grave, so everybody gets a fair share.
Thank you. 50,000. Yeah. Why
Yeah.
not?
Why not?
We have around 200 shrines for prophets here in Lebanon. So I
Right.
think I should list them only.
Exactly. Why not? It would be fun.
Hmm.
So, yeah, good verse.
About Moses,
About Moses.
153.
153. Yeah, I read it. I don't think it's important. But go ahead.
Okay. No, it's okay.
No, go ahead. Like, if it has something interesting to add to the story here.
I think Aaron should read it.
Yeah, it's Moses, Aaron. You want to have at it?
153?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I have a jump here.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow I went from 141 to 154.
Yeah, we worked through a few verses.
Yeah, I'm just noticing I'm missing those verses. I don't know how I'm missing them, but they're not in my script.
Oh,
Yep, it goes from 141 to 154.
Okay.
well,
I was just trying to reply to Jojo. Never mind.
you can always edit it in. Nobody will notice.
I don't have it in English, so that's why I can't read it. I read it in Arabic.
Mhm.
Mm.
I could
Right.
find it in English and read it if you want to.
The people of the book demand that you, prophet, make a book physically come down to them from heaven. But they demanded even more than that of Moses when they said, "Show us God's face to face," and were struck by the thunderbolt of their presumption, even after clear revelations, and had come down, even after clear liberation have come down to them. They took the calf as an object of worship, yet we pardoned this and gave Moses clear authority. The
So in
calf is,
shorten,
yeah,
Muhammad says, the other prophets have miracles. He says, so God says, yes, Moses also has miracles, and he split the sea, and he turned the sticks into snakes, and still people won't believe, and they want to see God face to face. The audacity of these people. So God strike them by lightning and kill them all. So the
ouch.
book is enough. A book from God is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, take the
That's in
book.
shorter. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
cheap.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny to know that actually Moses never saw the face of God, but he saw his ass. It's in
Funny
the
enough, Moses.
Bible.
There's no
Oh,
proof for Moses ever existing.
Yeah.
154, 150.
I recently interviewed a biblical scholar, Francesca Stavrokopoulou, and
Oh, you're lucky.
she's one of several people who are saying that there's not that there was no Moses. That
Yes.
Moses is a compilation of fictional characters. It's not just that there is no evidence of Moses. There is evidence indicating that Moses is a compilation of fictional characters and some real characters, the Pharaoh Senefru, and also Hammurabi. So at least a couple of real people in there, but otherwise Moses is not real.
Yeah. But if you are basing a story upon the stories from the Bible, the story in the Bible, Moses never saw the face of God, but he saw his backside.
Yeah, and they talk to each other as friends, and God turns his head so that Moses can't see his face, but he sees his backside. Yeah, but Abraham got to see his face because God showed up at his door, and Abraham recognized him.
Yep, and he said, "My Lord."
Okay.
He called him
and
immediately.
in the Bible,
recognized.
they go and sit at a tree and eat lunch together.
Yeah,
But in Islam, God isn't a creature. He doesn't look like a man. Doesn't look like anything. He's a shine of light. So you can't put a face to God in Islam.
And to be fair, Arn, you can't show your ass when you're eating. That's just not polite. Sorry.
Okay.
There is an exception to that. I just don't want to say it. Okay,
Okay.
Sea urchin. 157 is our next move here. Aaron, please read your note.
All right. 157. And
156.
said, "We have killed the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of God." Then in parentheses, "They did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, though it was made to appear like that to them. Those who disagreed about him are full of doubt, with no knowledge to follow, only supposition. They certainly did not kill him."
And there is a difference between Muslims and the conflict between Muslims and Christianity.
This is
and my note was that I once got into an argument with a Christian friend over religion when she said that Muslims revere Jesus and the Bible. Yes, they do, but not the way you think. They say that the Bible is corrupted and that Jesus never died. Not just that he didn't die on the cross, that he didn't die for your sins, but that he never died at all. That Jesus is not God, nor is he the Son of God. Jesus is only a prophet of God, second to Muhammad, but Jesus is God in the little g sense, that he is immortal and that he has magic powers.
And he will come back at the end days with Al-Mahdi and Muhammad and Armageddon.
And
Yeah,
Ali
we'll get to
and
that.
the horses and everything
Mhm.
else.
And kill pigs.
Yeah.
And kill the Jews. The rocks will say about where the Jews are hiding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. It says that the Quran says that the rocks will tell you where the Jews are, and Jesus says that the rocks and stones themselves will start to sing. So Jesus says that rocks are theists.
Yes.
But if I say no, if I say rocks are atheist, well, then I get in trouble.
Uh-oh.
I saw
the way-
that and I was laughing so hard and I was like, people like, do you understand? It's like, oh god, it's just like it's just a stupid argument. It was like, if it depends on how you define atheist, and it's a little bit pedantic because when you come to English, there's a lot of things that you like. If you don't have a belief, then that you're an atheist. An object that doesn't have a belief whatsoever, that you could say it's an atheist, but
Well, I don't say it's an atheist. The subtle distinction is that I say that it's atheist, meaning that it has no belief. But
yeah,
nobody understands that. They all think I'm saying that it is an atheist, that it is an individual. You know.
with no, yeah.
Aaron, you have a super chat.
Yes, I do.
21.
Thank you. Noxum Volpenhair, £5. Thank you very much for that. Summary: Allah was a Yoda fan. 9-5 kill all. Allah is no author of the Quran. Allah is more interested in playing games with themselves. No twerking.
You summed it up in one tweet. Okay.
Yeah, this verse that we were talking about, I understood it a little bit different. It was like the earth was gonna open and the perfect record is how you call it was gonna come up. You know the what's it called, the record,
The Book of Deeds.
yeah, the book of deeds that
Yes.
registers everything that you do.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With the Facebook
But-
archives.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. So
Whatever.
171 is the next one. Unless, Diana, you want to go into 156, or you're good.
Well, 159. Just quick note. It says that people ask Muhammad why those people of the book don't believe in you. So the Quran responds, well, some of them will believe before they die.
Which isn't an answer.
Which isn't
Yeah.
an answer because there is no deathbed conversion. So there you go.
So it. So
No. Some of them would believe about Jesus
But it would
before
be too
he
late.
dies. لا يؤمنن به قبل
مظبوط.
موته.
Yes, true.
Whose
True.
mouth?
the person who didn't believe.
No, it's Jesus'
No.
mouth.
Okay, then. So that's an open ending
Right.
because Jesus supposedly will never
And it's
die
not-
until the
and
end
it-
days.
Exactly. So
Okay, I
Someone
see.
here
I
makes an
see.
interesting comment in the chat. Says that Muslims have many different opinions. I've seen that. I've got people on my panel from all over the world, and there are different opinions represented. But this person says that some say that Jesus was crucified, but was taken by God, and maybe the time when Jesus said he committed his spirit, because the Quran says Jesus will raise.
No Muslim says that Jesus was crucified ever.
no, crucifixion
There's
did not happen to
Yahuwah.
Jesus.
Yahuwah was transformed into Jesus, and Yahuwah was crucified instead of Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah. So Judas, the guy who sold Jesus, basically the traitor, is the one that was crucified, and a lot of Muslim theology. God transformed him to become
Allah
lookalike.
changed his face. Yes.
yeah.
And he literally he snapped his fingers and sent literally Jesus to heavens till the judgment day, because he will come back at the judgment. As this verse will say, this Jesus will come back before the judgment day.
Yeah. Yeah. So there it is. It's all bad news. 171 is my next note.
Before we go to 171, 163, there is a list of prophets, and it talks about the Asbat, which are the 12 tribes, the elders of the 12 tribes, and lists them as prophet. And then it lists Jesus and Job
Jacob.
and Eunice.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Jonah, yeah.
And Jonah and Aaron.
Harun.
Aaron is a prophet, and Solomon is a prophet according to Islam, and
David.
David is a prophet. And here is the first time mentioning the Psalms of David, the songs of David, the Zabur.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
Which is a very funny name. Very
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
name in Arabic. Arabic speakers will understand.
Yeah. We're not going to put that on the
Very
show.
erotic name. Very erotic.
Yeah.
Just say erotic.
Yeah, we're
It's
not going to put that on the show.
Yeah.
Actually, we can say it. It's a nickname for man's junk.
Yeah. So when the Psalms of David sings about his glory, it's a dick joke.
Yes.
So, Diane, I had a comment about what you said earlier, that no Muslim believes that there was a crucifixion.
No,
And
that Jesus was crucified.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, not even the Ahmadis in Pakistan?
No, the Ahmadis differ in one particular aspect, and that is they do not condone violent jihad. And for that, and for the fact that they consider their leader to be a prophet, they are considered apostates in Islamic countries and are being chased around for no good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
So they say they are Muslims,
But Muslims
but
say they're
Muslims say they're heretics, and they kill them for that.
But Muslims says every other sect is a heretic. Like Shia,
Right, but
someone calls the
the
Shia
Ahmadiyas
Khawarij.
particularly
Yeah,
got it bad.
but at the same time, like you go to a country, and most Muslim country, if you are Sunni or Shia, you could live there peacefully without, like, if there wasn't a civil unrest, you could live there peacefully. For example, Saudi Arabia have at least 15% of the population Shia, and they're
But
living
not-
there peacefully.
More or
Okay.
less.
But
More or less,
but they persons could have their life as much as a living under an authoritarian government could make. Could you live your life? But if an Ahmadi comes to Saudi Arabia and try to open an Ahmadi mosque, they will not be happy. But you could open a Shia mosque because Shia is accepted as Muslims.
Yeah, but if they come to Lebanon, they can open an Ahmadi, whatever. We have 18 religions.
Yes,
Or
and
19
I
and
know.
stuff. In Lebanon, it's okay.
Lebanon
we need
is a
more religions.
specialty. Lebanon is a specialty because
Yeah.
it's a small country with 20,000 religion in it.
18
So,
major religions. Yes, 18 major religions with hundreds of sects.
yeah.
All right. Can we go to 171?
Yes.
All right, 171. 171 basically says specifically mention the Trinity and advises strongly against it for obvious reasons.
It says, stop doing that. Guys, come on.
Yeah, no Trinity, please. Aaron, can you read it?
People of the book, do not go to excess in your religion, and do not say anything about God except the truth. The Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, was nothing more than a messenger of God. His word directed to Mary, a spirit from him. So believe in God and his messengers, and do not speak of a Trinity. Stop this. That is better for you. God is only one God. He is far above having a son. Everything in the heavens and the earth belongs to him, and he is the best one to trust.
How dare you?
There goes Jesus, the Son of God. Absolutely. In one verse, here it is. You wanted it, you got it. That's the package deal.
Yeah, I find it very funny.
There is another verse, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ.
Right, but that doesn't
لم يلد ولم
specify.
يولد.
Right,
This
but
is لم
that's
يلد
again,
ولم يولد.
this goes after the specific
I know,
belief.
I know. But also this verse will say that God was not born and he didn't give birth.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole surah says that.
Yeah.
You can quote the whole surah for that, and you'll be fine. But if you want one verse,
that's more
this is it.
specified.
Yeah, this is like, hey, Christians, you got it all wrong. Sorry, but not sorry.
This, however, contradicts itself again, because this is not what Surah Miriam told us about the origins of Jesus.
No, it doesn't.
It
doesn't contradict Maryam.
No, yeah, it doesn't contradict it, and it just basically says that it names Jesus as a prophet and call him the Word of God given to Mary and from the Spirit of God. So
Which he says the same in Maryam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Gabriel.
Yeah. It just omits Gabriel here, but Gabriel, again, like I described the situation, Gabriel is like a garden hose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking on one end and Miriam is listening on the other.
Yeah, the English version is better than this one.
Yeah. Okay, so we got 171 covered.
72.
You want 172? Go ahead.
Yeah, to emphasize on 171.
All right.
Aaron should read it. I don't have the English again.
All right, 172. The Messiah would never disdain to be a servant of God, nor would the angels who are close to him. He will gather before him all those who disdain his worship and are arrogant.
Yeah.
And Christians.
That's a message for all Christians.
That's a message for them, very much.
You're arrogant Christians.
Trinity? Really? Son of God? Really? Oh. My other note is 176.
Jump to 176. They ask you, prophet, for a ruling. Say, God gives you a ruling about inheritance from someone who dies childless with no surviving parents. If a man leaves a sister, she is entitled to half of the inheritance. If she has no child, her brother is her sole heir. If there are two sisters, they are entitled to 2/3 of the inheritance between them. But if there are surviving brothers and sisters, the male is entitled to twice the share of the female.
And here goes equality. Yeah.
Yep. God makes it clear to you so that you do not make mistakes. You give the boys twice as much. They're worth twice as much.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read your notes on this?
So I say the Muslim God is a sexist pig. Actually, that's true of all versions of the God of Abraham. It's just slightly more obvious in the Islamic version.
Well, we're going to need that on a t-shirt. I need a new t-shirt.
Yeah, you can wear it in Canada. I don't think we can wear it in an Arabic country.
Well, you can't wear a lot of things in Arabic country.
No, you can wear whatever. I can wear a t-shirt saying I'm an atheist in Lebanon. I can wear a bikini and walk in Lebanon, but I can't wear.
Yeah, when I went to go spend a week in
t-shirt.
Dubai, I had to be very careful with my t-shirt collection.
Yeah, you can actually in Lebanon. No, you can wear I'm an infidel. I'm an atheist. You can wear swears and everything, but I don't think you can wear God is a sexist pig. Okay, maybe God is sexist. Maybe it will pass, but the pig thing is
Well,
don't
come on.
pass.
I mean, you have to be offensive somehow.
Yeah. Being an atheist is offensive enough.
Well,
So somebody, G Skeptic, put in a note here, correction, Jesus is not second to Muhammad. That is taken by Abraham. There is an invocation at the end of the Islamic prayers, and only Muhammad and Abraham and their families mentioned.
No.
The
That's
blessing,
the other way around.
It's a blessing that they do in the at the end of the prayer is to bless the family of Muhammad, just like how he blessed the family of Abraham. We know from the story of the Bible how God supposedly blessed the family of Abraham having inheritance. They give them land and give them inheritance that they will inherit the whole land. So it's basically just saying that give them the same good thing you give Abraham.
But it's not like undermining Jesus at all.
No, yeah.
If anything, Muhammad compares himself to Moses more than any other prophet.
Yes. Yeah, Muhammad loved the story of Moses. And you could tell by reading the Quran just how many times he repeated the story.
Yes, because he wanted Jews to follow him, but they didn't do it. So then he turned against Jews.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't realize that the Jews didn't follow Moses exactly.
I think that's what he missed in the story is like, and it could be another reason why he liked to compare himself to Moses, because the Jews didn't listen to either.
Yeah. Well, we're done with this surah.
I got a question on. I was a little confused when we mentioned the rocks thing earlier. I thought we had read in the Quran where it said that the rocks would say, you know, that there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. But I'm now seeing that that's only in a hadith.
It is in a hadith. I don't know if it's in a Quran. I don't remember it in the Quran.
It's in the hadith, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a hadith, and the reason why it is so popular is that this is used in Friday prayer speeches.
And because all the sects agree on it.
Yes.
So it's more popular.
So it's not the earth crust opening.
There will be. There will be.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing about in Islam. There's an ayah talks about how Allah presented the amana for. He presented the beliefs and the belief in becoming Muslim to the heavens and to the earth and the mountains, and they refused it. That might be the point that you're talking about there, Aaron, that they refused to believe in God, and they will just gonna accept it without taking the amana, picking up the amana. But in Islamic theology, everything is sentient. Every single thing is sentient and have conscience. So when there's hadith that a rock will talk, and there's hadith that rocks moved by themselves with no other means.
The mountains move also.
Yes, and there is a lot of stuff talking about how rocks and anatomy, like objects that are usually just dead objects with nothing in them, will act like conscious sentient human.
Because magic.
Because magic, exactly.
Okay, so I guess we can meet up in 2 weeks' time. Is that a fair date for everybody? Wait,
sure.
2 weeks.
Let me check
my calendar. I might have to be in Austin.
That's the 21st.
Yep, I will be in Austin.
Yeah, what about the Faithless Forum?
Yep.
Yeah. So the 28th?
Yeah, 28th.
Okay.
Sure.
And we will be covering Surah 99 and I think probably 57. And I've been looking forward to 57.
Zombie time.
Yes, 57. Is it the iron?
Yep.
Yeah. It would be nice. It would be nice to have an apologist on that for that one.
It would. It would. I'll see if I can dig one up.
Yeah. That one needs a lot of hammering for sure.
Well,
you could get Apostate Prophet. He got a couple of videos on the subject.
Oh, that is a very good idea. I should ask Apostate Prophet if he's free on that day.
I love Surah 99 because when I was growing up in Saudi Arabia, there was an Islamic preaching ministry called they had a collection of cassettes, and I don't know if anyone remember what cassette. Well, I know Aaron and Bogi will remember cassettes. That they made those
Me too.
cassettes and recording of preachers, and they called it the Zelzela, and they had this scary thunder and very like booming voice after saying the Zelzela. I have to find it and send it to you because it's hilarious now looking back at it, just trying to scare everyone into religion.
Mhm.
Yes, do
Uh,
please share that with me.
Please post
Do
it
I-
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
appreciate letting us three feel so old. Bogi, me, and Aaron.
All right.
See, I didn't say you, Diana, because like
I had cassettes. 84. I was born with cassettes. Wait.
Well,
All
I
right.
think
I think it's time to close it up. As always, I've got other projects I've got to dive into. So appreciate very much the panel. Welcome back, Mubarak. Hope we can see you next time. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Bogi, for carrying the show. Everybody involved. We've got a good team here, and I'm happy. All right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.